So the little peak is there. Under that useless LED headlight is there. I keep calling it useless because it honestly doesn't illuminate enough. And Royal Enfield's rolling this LED headlight to everything, which means in another whatever 6, 8, 10 months, all Royal Enfields will basically not be very good at illuminating the road in front of you after dark.
And I really want to give some perspective on this. We don't talk about headlamps that often when we're talking about cars. I know, and people have asked us, and I get it. We should be talking about it. But on motorcycles, a poor headlamp is such a disaster because first and foremost, in different scenarios, you are exposed to the elements. You don't have a protective shell around you to help you at least see somewhat better or give yourself that cushion. If you're in the rain and it's pouring hard and the headlamp is not good, you are in it. You are part of that mix. In a car, you can at least have a breather to say, hang on, I'm going to slow down. It'll help me out. You can't do that. And I think whether it's cars or bikes, I think like we were talking about rear windscreen wipers, washers and all of that, I think good headlamps should just be a thing now and not about meeting mandatory requirements.
And there are bikes that are less expensive with great LED headlights. And of course, there are bikes more expensive than this with terrible LED headlights too. So point is, it can be done. But for some reason, Royal Enfield decided that this slightly silly headlight is just enough. I don't know
Especially when they were redoing it, right?
Yeah.
That is the point.
Yeah, I mean, just take a reference point today. See the Harley's headlight, the X440's headlight. It's nice, bright and powerful. See the Dominar. It's an old headlight. It was a good headlight from the start. I think it's the saving grace for the Dominar. If it was required, I would call the headlight.
Okay.
Right? The RTR 310, the new one with the twin headlamp setup. My God, that thing is bright. And it meets all legal spec.
Yeah, correct.
It's legal. Why not? So it can be done. The old 220 used to have them back in the day, right?
Right.
So it can be done. For some reason, this LED headlight, it's now on the Himalayan, it's on the Gorilla, it's on the Classic 350, it's on the Goan Classic. It's all of the 650s. Oh my God, none of them show you clearly what is going on after dark. Anyway, we'll move on. So the Tripper is now standard on this bike. The same exact layout of everything else, except for the handlebar, which is taller. Okay, and just to give you a sense of, it is about that much taller. I'll put pictures obviously. And in the accessory kit is a handlebar that is only about that tall.
Okay.
And for frame of reference, it will be about that is the Classic 350's handlebar. So that plus that is the middle, which is the accessory handlebar, and another that much is the tall handlebar. People have been calling it ape hanger bars everywhere. It's not. Ape basically says it's at the shoulder height or higher. This is not. This is very nicely calculated. You sit in a very commanding feeling position. Your hands are still well below your shoulders. So it's a comfortable position, and I like my forearms to always be almost as horizontal as possible, so that whatever work I'm putting into steering goes into steering and is not wasted. It's still very, very close to it. We are in a very good place. It's a very well calculated handlebar. What I didn't realize, and I made the connection later, is because this steering puts your hand at a longer lever arm from where the steering would operate as the center of steering, it also makes the front end feel much lighter. So this bike feels very light to maneuver and steer.
Okay, so this is interesting. So what you're saying is it's higher.
It's not necessarily wider, but it does give you a little bit more leverage.
But it's as wide?
It's as wide.
It's as wide. Oh, because somehow whatever...
It's not like this. It's still like this.
So, okay, that's an interesting... Going by the pictures, whatever I saw of it, I thought it would be closer, and which is why I thought it would feel heavy. I was expecting to say heavier.
No, it's lighter. And it's lighter. Nice. And I was thinking about it because I was wondering how did it feel so light? And I'm not necessarily saying light is a good thing. I'm just saying first it felt light. So why did it feel so light? My feeling is that the tip of the handlebar as it is now is even further from the center of mass. So when you do this, you rotate that mass with more leverage. So it feels light.
Okay.
And I think when you bring the handlebar down to the lower one, you'll feel more of the front. But you will steer a little bit with more effort because it's now closer. And a regular Classic 350 handlebar, which you could in theory mount on this motorcycle, would increase the steering effort further. The reason why it also feels lighter is because the weight is transferring backwards on this motorcycle by design. It's not as much weight on the front as a Classic 350. And if you look at the profile of the bike, the highest point of the bike is the handlebar. If you ignore the handlebar, it's the headlight. From the headlight, the tank slopes down and the seat slopes down further and the tail light is even lower than that. So it's a motorcycle with a profile like that where the handlebar is up here. So the weight on the front is low and it has been recalibrated a little bit for that in terms of suspension. Again, not at the front. The front half of the motorcycle, frame, engine, gearing, headlight, everything is the same. Even the tank is the same. Royal Enfield has 3 or 4 color schemes. There is a lot of people have called them trippy. They're a little bit out there. But when Royal Enfield went out there with the Gorilla, I think they got more wrong than right. This time when they went out there, I think they got a lot more right than they got wrong.
Before you move on to the rest of the bike, the handlebars actually, only when you brought in why it's called the Goan, when they brought up that, and that foreigner thing is right, whatever you want to call it, because the early days of when Royal Enfield started doing Rider Mania, which is now Motorverse, those were my first few experiences with Rider Mania. I hadn't gone for anything like that. The first ride, the story. And that's absolutely on the money. As soon as you said it, it went ding in my head. Because there were custom bikes then. They used to always have those displays about custom bikes.
Correct.
And there were a whole bunch of, if you want to call them expats or whatever, there were non-Indians living here who would be your quintessential Harley Davidson image in that sense. They would be in sleeveless t-shirts or those kind of vests and with custom Royal Enfields, and this was a common trait that it's actually it's long back, because I don't think I've seen them in the recent years. I haven't seen stuff like that in the recent years.
Correct.
But back then I remember seeing it.
That's because Goa's weather has improved so much that everybody now uses cars.
The colors you said, they are...
So the colors are super trippy. Like there's what they call the shack black, which it's a little obvious, that name, but it's black, matte, but the graphics are tribal kind of.
What's the name again?
Shack black. Like shack, like where you go to eat on the beach, a shack. Not shack up black, just shack black.
Oh crap.
Right?
Okay.
And the graphics are done in gloss black, which is kind of interesting in some light. If it's anything like dusk and tending towards night, there's no way to make out anything, but it's there. I rode a basic purple bike. No real graphics on it. Looked very good in the morning sunlight. Then people were given a teal and orange bike to ride with a little bit of graphics and all. That was way too much for me. And there is a black one with like a big flame kind of design. And big flame, as in not like a lot of curly cues. It's like the side of the tank has one, and the top has one, and the side has one. Looks nice.
I was just waiting, like there has to be one with flames.
Yeah. And it looks good. It looks like a good looking motorcycle.
Listen, this has been fun, and I think we should take this to the next level. I think our relationship's ready for it. And if you're ready, head to the MotorInc channel, where this 3-minute video ends up expanding into a hour-long video, which would be a great way for us to spend time when you're taking a jog, in a flight, commuting to work, or back. We'd love to hang out more.